channel. How are you?
I'm good. It's been a long time coming.
You're supposed to be here last year.
I know.
And I promised my people content last year. I was like, I'm gonna be more consistent. It's been like a year.
Yeah.
But anyway, welcome to my YouTube channel. How are you today?
I'm great. I had to honor the invitation.
You had to.
Yeah, I had no choice. I've been cooking for almost. It's been like 3-4 months. We talked about content and the channel and what the channel does. So yeah.
I've been wanting you on for like a while.
Yeah.
So before we start talking about your business, can you tell us a little bit about yourself? Like who's Mxolisi? Where you come from? What are you about, bruh?
Yeah, so I'm about small businesses. I'm about the upliftment of small businesses. I've learned that through time. Time will tell you a story about yourself. So I think I've learned that I'm about businesses. I'm about uplifting small businesses. I'm an accountant by profession. Went to UJ. Worked at one of the big 4 audit firms. Worked at AG. Now running my own accounting firm, helping small businesses out in mainly Soweto and construction and art industries.
So why did you venture into business? Because I hear you like a professional, so you're in corporate.
Yeah.
Why did you decide to start your own business?
I think firstly I've always wanted to be the person that can call the shots, and then I'd always wanted to have time to myself, because I had then realized, once working, that you then have to give up some of that. You give up having to call the shots, and you have to give up, a lot of your time, and you have to do all of that for money. So it was a decision that I had to make, but I felt that I was always going to gravitate to starting something on my own, even if it was not going to be in the accounting field, but it was just going to be something where I'd be able to wake up whenever I want to wake up, but still add value to people's lives and people whose businesses I'd be touching. So yeah.
So you mentioned like this thing about like time. So you're spending like more time, because from what maybe like I understand, sometimes as like an entrepreneur you actually end up working more than you would have at like corporate.
Yeah. So entrepreneurship is different, because I think if you're working and your work is your passion, then you're more likely going to spend more time at work, right? So with entrepreneurship, if you take your entrepreneurship and you sort of make that a passion, then you're more likely going to end up spending a lot of your time in your entrepreneurship, and that's why you end up saying that entrepreneurs spend more time at work as opposed to the normal 9 to 5. And that's because the entrepreneur's life is their work. So it's not necessarily doesn't even feel like work. It feels like making the next big move to get a promotion. It literally just feels like that when you're working and going to try and find another contract and sending out a proposal. So that's how entrepreneurship feels like. It feels like every day when you work for a better promotion in the next month or in the next day. So it's sort of not linear, because the upside of it all is sort of unlimited. So when the upside is unlimited, then you don't mind putting in the time. But
the extra hours.
Yeah, you don't mind putting the extra hours. But if the outcome is fixed or based on a particular variable, then you'll sort of relax. Put in the hours, but you'll relax. But when outcome is unlimited, you don't mind working in the late night.
Jola Malume, how did you know, okay, now it's time to start my own thing? Was there like a need that you identify? Because a lot of people sometimes think, hold on, they're thinking this accounting market is swapping,
Saturated.
Yeah, so a lot of people think that this market is like saturated. I know like one friend thinks that if maybe instead of having like multiple like accounting firms, if all the black people could just come together and have like one big firm, it'd be then for the better. I don't know, so I guess my question is in 2 parts. Although when did you know, okay, now it's time for me to leave? And the other part is, what do you think? Is it the market saturated? Would it be better if then all small accounting firms come together to form one big one?
Okay.
One conglomerate.
Right. I think let me start with the last question first. Should we come together and form, one big conglomerate, of accounting firms? I think when an accounting firm or an accountant gets a client, the relationship is very personal. So this is, accounting and legal space, so professional services. When a person does business with you, they do business with the person. So people have different ways of doing things, and people gravitate to different people. So that's why you're going to find that if you're in an audit firm, a partner will gravitate to pulling a specific client because the partner knows certain people at this client, right? But you might find that the partner might not necessarily like the culture of the firm that they're at, So that's why you might find that this partner is going to go out and start their own firm because they want to establish their own culture. So how we can work together is when there are bigger jobs out there that are going to need a collaboration of accounting firms. So there are much bigger projects that maybe you might have joint ventures with other accounting firms that might offer different services from what we offer, or might assist us with our labor force, or we might go in and assist another accounting firm with their labor force. So businesses want to work with different people or people that they gravitate to. So that's why they'll have to choose their different accountants. We can work together by having collaborations, but coming under one roof, I think it's also a profit sharing type of thing, to say people work differently under different circumstances. So I might run my own accounting firm, but you and I might not really agree on how to run the firm. So you can bring in your clients, run your accounting firm. I'll have my clients run my accounting firm. At the end of the day, you'll still be happy from building your dream. I'll be happy from building my dream. But from a resource perspective, should we need to come together, then I can always come to you and ask you for assistance on certain matters. So that's how I think we can work together. But the reason why it might seem like it's saturated is because you have many people serving different markets in the whole industry as well.
So you don't think that it's saturated?
I don't think it's saturated. I think that everyone has their person. Every client has got their accountant. And accounting services are also something that is very personal. No one just goes out and gets an accountant. So it's mostly from people that they know. So I don't think it's saturated. I think the more the merrier. There's so many businesses out there that don't even realize that you need an accountant. I'm always like, when is the next accountant opening an accounting firm? Because that is the way forward. That is the new wave. If we're moving, especially with the COVID and the fourth industrial revolution, that's where we're all moving. We're moving to contractual working. That's going to allow us to have flexibility. It's going to allow us to have time and move into the entrepreneurship space. So yeah. What was the first question?
When did you know it was time to start your own project?
Okay, I knew it was time when I started getting, uncomfortable going to work in the morning. The emotions of waking up, feeling like, this is not the place for me. I love what I do, but the environment maybe isn't for me. So it's from feeling those emotions to things manifesting, to say, okay, what else, what do I want to do with the skill that I have? What can I potentially do? So I then looked around for designations because I was sort of doing articles, and I really needed to find a way out because I was really, drawn to the whole independence thing. So I went out, found professional body that would accept me with my qualifications, and then thought, listen, I'm going to be an accountant for small businesses. And I literally thought about it for about 2 months. It was October, November, December, I put in my resignation, and I was out by January, starting the new company.
So the learning curve, I know earlier we had a discussion about accountants not being entrepreneurs. Could you please just explain a little bit of the difference and then how accountants can become entrepreneurs? Because you have like a lot of accountants that feel the way that you feel, that are stuck in corporate, that are maybe stuck doing the articles, that they can feel, okay, this is not for me. But these years and this experience that I've gained through this time, it shouldn't like go to waste. Is then a way for them then to capitalize on it, you know. And if I find myself that actually I am an accountant but not necessarily an entrepreneur, how then do I make that switch?
So I think as an accountant, I think I'd like to just go back to a conversation about being a professional, you know. So this goes to even if you're a lawyer, if you're an engineer, you know. As a professional, you need to be a professional. You need to maintain your competencies and be a professional. Being an accountant is about working in businesses. So you assist entrepreneurs in businesses, right? So you need to understand your role as an accountant, where you fit in the whole, you know, 8 functions of a business. Once you understand that, then you'll understand what an entrepreneur is. That as an accountant that also runs an accounting firm, you're not necessarily an entrepreneur. As a lawyer that runs their own law firm, you're not necessarily an entrepreneur. You're just a professional, right? And then, how does an accountant then become an entrepreneur? It's when you sit and you see the business that you're helping and assisting with books, and you think about their supply chain and think about where this person is in their business or in, you know, the market. And if you can start seeing gaps there, and if you've got the capital, and you start investing in that, then you're becoming an entrepreneur, you know, because I think being an entrepreneur is about being enterprising. So you can be an accountant that does business, right? Maintain your competencies and just do business. So you could literally run a logistics company, or you could run a company that sells anything, not necessarily accounting services, but just that runs anything, but still sort of be enterprising and go out, look for opportunities and sell whatever it is you're selling. That's being an entrepreneur. Now, being an entrepreneur and being an accountant is selling of the accounting services. How are you enterprising in selling the accounting services, the professionalism that you bring on the table? So that is also like a different type of ball game in itself. But I think if you package yourself well, you can grow in leaps and bounds that you wouldn't have thought of, or you wouldn't have imagined, because as I said, you know, the upside of it is great. It just takes a bit of learning. So you need to spend a bit of time as an entrepreneur. You need to spend a lot of time on your product, on yourself. What is the product if you're an accounting firm? It's your financial statements, you know, the value that you give to your clients, you know, filing on back returns and making sure that your clients actually understand what you're putting on the table for them, you know, adding that value. And once you can craft that and work on your product or on your value, then it's just about packaging it properly and putting it out there. Not everyone is going to buy it, but not everyone is for your product, or not everyone is your target market.
I want to dive into that where you said working on yourself. So, like when you started, is it a capital intensive business to start? When you want to then? Like when you started, how much did you have to initially invest?
I needed like 1,000 rand.
You needed like 1,000?
1,000 rand. So it's not capital intensive. So that's also like a thing that you need to understand, that if you're going to start a business, you need to understand the type of capital that's going to be involved in starting that type of business. So service-based business doesn't need products. So we don't need inventory. You are the product. You just need to make sure that you're available. So time is what we're actually selling, you know. So I needed to make sure that I had the time to actually offer this value. So capital wise, I needed a laptop, I needed my phone, I needed some airtime, and I needed to call a couple of people, call up the network and be like, what's up?
Listen, I'm here.
There's a new kid on the block.
Is available.
Alum is available for this thing.